Hello and a warm welcome back to another video and a warm welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on this 2009 Nissan Micra. Is this a K12? Not sure. Ignore the trains as always, they always seem to come at the most inconvenient times. Today we're investigating an issue. Full disclosure, I have already diagnosed what I believe to be the fault with this car. It's an overheating fault, and what I'm hoping to do is show you how I diagnosed this fault without using any tools at all, because I didn't have any on me at the time and I was asked to have a look at it while I was putting a concrete spur in, of all things. So yeah, I've got it running just to get it up to temperature and get the fault light on, and then I run through with what I've already done. So annoyingly, this car doesn't actually have a actual temperature gauge. We've got a temperature idiot light there. So to make things a little bit easier, just for visual demonstration, I'm going to use my thermal temperature probe so we can take some temperature measurements. For what it's worth, customer has said, not so much a customer, family member I suppose, has said that putting the heater on actually brings that light off, so I'm going to run that for a little while. And as you can see there, that's gone straight off. So first clue there, I believe that the water pump is okay on this, but we'll go through that in a moment. So as we can see, the little coolant reservoir, which is just an overspill set up on here, it doesn't actually have an expansion tank. The top of the radiator is designed as an expansion tank. That's been overfilled and that has dribbled out a little bit of water. I don't think there's a lot of coolant left in this because I think it has been topped up. I don't believe the head gasket's gone on this. If we just have a look at the oil cap, that all looks good there. As does looking into the cam cover there. Looking at the oil tells us the same thing. Doesn't look like, it's not indicative of a head gasket that's blown. The radiator cap has been changed by a mechanic. It's his belief that the head gasket's gone. I don't think it has. Someone else, a family member of hers, has said that they think that the water pump might not be pushing enough fluid around. Again, I sort of disagree with that, and I'll explain why. So if I start the car again, so my theory is that if the water pump wasn't pumping enough fluid around the system, which is entirely possible, why does having the heater on full give you enough coolant flow to allow you to cool the engine? That's kind of my counter argument against that. If we measure the inlet pipe here, you can see that's about 80 degrees at the moment, and then the outlet pipe is only 70 and climbing. We'll give that a minute to warm up again. For information, the cooling fan is running. As you can see there, the cooling fan is in fact running. I don't know about you, obviously you can't see this and I'm not going to be able to use my thermal imaging thing for this, but when I put my hand down here, that feels strikingly cool to me. Certainly my Mark II Cavalier is much hotter. This is a nice, almost like warm air coming from an air conditioning unit almost. You know, not a fan that's actually trying to get the dump loads of heat out of the engine. So let's have another look at this here. Like I say, 80 degrees currently going in at the moment, and we got 68 coming out. I don't think that's enough. I mean, that's the two pipes are not far off, identical to each other from what I'm feeling. I mean, I have got the fan on internally at the moment at the minute anyway, but when you feel these two pipes here, this is what goes to your heater matrix. So let's have a little look. So again, we've got 77 odd degrees, 78 going up, going into the heater matrix. I must have that the wrong way around. So going into the heater matrix, we've got about 81 degrees. Coming out, we've got 79. Let's see if I've got the fan on. So fan's on number 4 now. Temperature going in is 84 degrees at the moment, and temperature coming out is 78. So all this is helping keep the engine cool. So what I think is actually happening is the fins on the radiator, there's quite a few damaged ones at the bottom, and it's not able to dump enough heat from it. As I say, the air coming from the radiator itself, just in front of the fan here, is way too cool for my liking. So it's my belief that we're going to need to change this radiator. So yeah, let's go and grab some tools and start pulling this car apart. Let it cool down for a minute first, though, eh? So I'm struggling to see how this radiator actually comes out. Like I say, unless if one of the upper or lower valents comes out, the only way I can see is the little rubber grommets need to come out to give us the movement. There is a couple of screws on this fan, which I'm going to undo next. Looking at the new radiator, that is literally all it's held in by. This fan is only clipped in at the bottom. So let's get that out and see if that reveals anything. Radiator's getting in the way of everything, isn't it? And there we go, one fan out. I think I've just worked it out. There's a couple of little nuts either side of this valance. It looks like this valance is designed to come out. So looks like we've got to undo the headlamps. On the front here, we've got two, don't mind that, we've got two 10mm bolts either side. we've got another one just behind the headlamp here that I think we're going to need to undo. So let's get them undone. So it looks like I'm going to have to take this headlamp out just to make it easier to get to the bolt that's here. It's deciding to be tight all the way through. It's just two 10mm bolts, the one I took out earlier, and we've got this one here, and obviously an electrical connector to undo. To get this headlamp out, there is a third bolt, which I don't know if you can see it because I could barely see it myself. But it's all the way in there somewhere. Don't know if you can see that just underneath that. So you have to take the bumper off. So what I'm going to do is struggle. We've got a bit more movement on this now. That gives us a bit better access to this bolt here. I've got a wobble adapter on, so hopefully this will with an extension maybe we'll be able to finally get it undone. That's loose. Repeat the other side. So this side does have an earth connector on it, or a ground connection I should say. Oops, that one's totally undone anyway. Yeah, this lamp hasn't actually got, it's got its bolt missing. We'll just move him out of the way a second. That's loose now, so looks like we're being held in down here somewhere. Looks like it's going to be this bonnet catch assembly. How is that attached? Looks like we might have another bolt down here to undo. Yes, that looks like it might be it. 13mm just on the front there. 13mm just there. And we need to undo. That allows us to hopefully get this catch away and this front valance assembly away enough to get this radiator out. One radiator. It's not as bad as I was expecting actually. I thought that a lot of these might have been damaged and not causing the heat transfer, or inhibiting the heat transfer I should say. It looks quite clean actually. Let's put the new one in. One thing worth remembering is make sure this little pipe here is back in its washer bottle. Sorry for the shaky handy camera work. back in there. Here on this headlight you can see the other two fixings. There's the top one, bottom one that we can see, and then you got another one that goes just down here. Obviously you have to remove the bumper to get to that. Oh, and it looks like there's a fourth one just here as well. No, I've got that wrong. Just the three. 1, 2, 3, and this one goes in just under the bumper here. That's the radiator topped up now. Got the heater fully on. Just speed number 1 at the minute. Just try and get the air out of the system. Wait for the thermostat to open. I forgot to say earlier in the video, the thermostat was already changed by a mechanic. So yeah, we could pretty much rule that out as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. So I'll come back to you when we're warmed up and the water's circulating through the radiator. So that's the fan running, and in actual fact it's just turned off, and I can tell you the air around here where my hand is definitely a lot more hotter than what it was. What I really should have done is got my heat gun. So I just stood here waiting for the fan to come back on. The fan's now running, it's been turning on and off as it should instead of running continuously. So just put my thermometer on the inlet pipe, the top pipe, which is obviously, as you can see there, 88.6, something like that. We'll go on the bottom pipe now. I don't know if you can see my laser there. Obviously we're fighting against the heat coming off the radiator. So I can get a better angle. I'm getting about 74 degrees there. 74, 75. Not a massive difference compared with the other radiator, but it's obviously enough, and as you can see there, it's dropping all the time, especially since and there's the fan just turned off again, so it's only running a few seconds at a time, bringing that temperature right down. Look. So I'll call that one a success. We'll give it a bit of a test drive and make sure it's all okay. Got a bit of a wet patch there from where I just double checked the level. All good. So just been on a test drive. All good. Yeah, I think I've done about 10 miles or just under, just to give it a good run, get the engine nice and hot. Just sitting here idling at the moment. Got no leaks under the bonnet. The fan's cutting in and out as it should be. We've finally got the heater on cold, because that's how she was getting getting the engine back cool again. She was running around with the heater on all the time and the windows open. So yeah, sorry, I was distracted by a young chap doing a wheelie there. I don't know if you saw that on camera or not, but there you go. So yeah, that's it for this one. Nice simple job, well, relatively simple, with a nice outcome. So yeah, I can't remember if there was other things I wanted to go into. I had it in my head of everything that I was going to run through for just the diagnostic really, but the most important one for me was how cool the air felt when I put my hand down in front of the fan, you know, obviously far away enough that I'm not going to get my hand caught. It felt quite cool, and compared with other cars, you normally, you know, you virtually can't keep your hand there, you know, it's very, very warm. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in a future video. So it's been about 3 months since I last installed this radiator into the Micra, and the good thing is the lady that owns it hasn't had any more issues with it. Initially I thought it might have been because of all these fins were sort of damaged, but when I got the radiator out it wasn't actually that bad. If I turn it over, you can't see very well because it's a little bit wet still. If I bring it into the sunlight, you can see there's some scale build up in there, and I think that is what's actually the biggest problem with this radiator, is it's been topped up with just fresh ordinary water, and it's actually just scaled up the inside of this radiator, so it wasn't able to get the heat transfer. So probably we could have just done a simple radiator flush with some chemical, and probably this would have been okay. But when it's someone else's car, you just replace the radiator if you suspect that's what the fault is, rather than, you know, trying something that potentially won't work. If it's your own car, it's not really a problem, is it? Because you've only got yourself to answer to, sort of thing. So yeah, just a little clip. Thank you very much for watching. See you again in the next video.